Dice Company contains fantasy violence, mature themes, and unapologetic bickering. No feelings were hurt in the making of it, but listener discretion is advised. Dice Company will always be free, but it's not free to make. Please consider supporting us on Patreon or Apple Podcasts and get access to our weekly roundtable show Extra Roll. Just follow any of the links in the show notes for this chapter.
Petron, as you arrive to the ship, you find a note nailed to the hull of the Sterling. It reads, Mourner's Keep, Paxson Day, 17th of midday. Come alone. Signed, The First Sea Lady, Nori Gosler.
Hello? Is anybody here? Oh.
Ah!
Oh!
Petron! Vander says, opening the door to the captain's quarters.
Oh, good. You got my note then. That's good to see. Talking of notes, been some sort of post person stopped by, but I'm not sure who it's for. And Petron is going to hand Vander the note.
Vander scrutinises it. Where did you find this?
It was nailed to the ship there. I noticed it on my way coming back on board. Who do you think's supposed to be coming alone? That's my question. It hasn't got a name on it. Should I be coming alone? I could go alone.
One would assume it was meant for me, unless you have had dealings with Miss Gosler.
No. I think your father mentioned that name, but that was the first time I've heard it. So, no, you're right. It's probably not for me.
At this point, you hear from far away a voice go, "Oh, Petron's back!" And then Seeksorrow swings on a rope and attempts from high in the mast to land lightly next to Vander and Petron, showing off his excellent seamanship.
I mean, it feels like it might be an acrobatics check.
Sure. Oh, God. That is a natural 1 for 3. Fucking hell, I was getting good at being a sailor.
You hear the excited calls of your friend Oberon Seeksorrow as he swings down from the crow's nest at the top of the main stick, and then he overshoots, flies off the side of the Sterling and into the sea.
The Petron's going to dash to the side of the ship and go, Seeksorrow, are you alright? Can you swim?
Oh, yeah, I think I'm all right. Sorry, I meant to do that. You're right, Petron.
I'm very well, thank you. That was impressive, I suppose.
Oh, thank you. Could you chuck me a rope or something?
Right you are.
Vander strides to the rail and says almost to himself, More proof if proof were needed that smooth seas do not make skillful sailors.
Seeksorrow just splashes around.
Welcome one and all to Dice Company's Small Embers Chapter 76, where a group of friends weave tales of triumph, heroism and despair under the guise of playing Dungeons & Dragons. My name is Tom, and I'll be your DM through the continuing adventures of the Order of the Heron. Order of the Heron, please introduce yourselves and tell the audience one fun fact about your characters.
Hi, I'm Alex, and I play Seeksorrow, and for my fun fact this week, I'm going to canonise Hogmail.
Oh, fuck's sake.
Yes!
I will give you 3 facts about Hogmail, which, as we know, is the delivery of post by hogs, often screaming hogs. My 3 facts are thus. Number 1, the hour of the hog is at 5 bells after noon, when most people in Frost Hollow know to stay indoors. 2, when you want to requisition a hog to send your post, you gather around a large pen and bid. And this large pen is known as Hamlet's Globe. And finally, these hogs are highly intelligent and are very good at finding the person for whom the note is intended, wherever they are in the city. Rumour has it, these hogs are planning something.
I love it.
Oh my God.
I love both the fact and the cornering of the DM at the same time.
I feel like you've destroyed Frost Hollow now. It was this really cool, gothic, wintry, vampiric style wasteland. And now it's a poor man. It's a pound shop Discworld is what it is.
Okay, wait.
It's Ankh Morpork.
The Seeksorrow thought of Sepulchre Marsh as the Hogfather.
Exactly.
Also, it's an economy that needs to rebuild, so this will drive tourism.
They've got economy.
Like the bull run in Pamplona or whatever.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
What I've effectively done is I've created a Dice Company version of parliamentary privilege. I don't know if you know that if a member of the UK Parliament makes a statement in the House, it cannot be defamatory. They cannot be sued for saying it. They speak under parliamentary privilege. And I kind of feel like by making this fact in the under the canonizing umbrella of the fun fact, I've effectively invoked Sumai, my parliamentary privilege.
I think that's flawless logic. I'm hugely in favour. Sumai.
Yeah, I was worried about this and the extra roll that we recorded when you guys were talking about just putting it into the fun facts and therefore making it canon. I'm irritated to see that you've organised well enough to actually implement it.
Hogmail.
Did you just whisper hogmail?
To some extent. I may have said it, you may have heard it, but you'll hear from my lawyers.
Hi, I'm Charlie, and I play Vander Finnick. Vander has recently started keeping a pain diary after hearing it might help manage his suffering, having endured more torture than anyone else has before. The results, sadly, are mixed. Day 1. Started leaking yellow bile today. Unexpected. Not sure if it's progress or a setback. Day 7. Pain levels are off the chart. Tried assigning it a colour. Settled on sad burnt toast. Day 15. Attempted deep breathing exercises today. Accidentally inhaled a fly. Pain unchanged. Dignity questionable. Day 21. Found my joints snap to a rhythm when I walk. Decided to just nod along. It's a work in progress, but we're going to keep with it.
Oh, it's so good. I really want to read the diary.
Years to come, people will buy the pain diary. Yeah.
I can give you pain diary updates from time to time if you like.
Please do.
Yes, please.
Hello, I'm Dave. I play Patron Oakflower. I eat my tea.
An example of towering magnificence.
From the pain diary to that. Unbelievable. Do you have no shame?
I don't think any of us saw this coming. There's going to have to be an apology statement on our social media channels.
Hi, I'm Harry, and I play Tok, an imposing 6'8" automaton.
Hey.
And Tok is again talking to Little Tick in the mess of the Sterling. Little Tick, let me tell you about the Rojan. They were a group of heroes, helping those in need, doing good deeds, upholding the authority and interests of the humans ruling class. They started out small, much like a seed or the crew of the Sterling, building their numbers and influence over time. Now we aspire to form a new order of heroes, though we are somewhat less effective at assisting those in need. Vander appears opposed to good deeds, and we seek to overthrow and destroy the humans' legitimate ruling class, the Empire.
Okay, it would be easy for me to have a go at that fact from the Vander point of view, but I'm going to choose to use maths as my weapon. Because
Where are his lawyers now?
Well, running out of doubloons to pay them. But you said that the Rojan were growing like the Sterling. The Sterling's numbers have stayed remarkably stable. In fact, I would argue that we pretty much stick with the 4.
Well, actually, Tok's been creating new ones.
Yeah.
It's literally speaking to the new member of the team.
I would say there's double, in fact, from what started.
We lost the
is that right?
automatons.
Oh, that's true.
We lost the automatons.
And gained new ones.
Not enough, though.
So you had 8 to begin
never
with,
enough.
and now
Did
you've
we?
got
I thought we had 4.
We had 4.
8 total. So you 4 and the 4 original automatons, and now there's you 4, Tick, Little Tick, the 2
Nameless first-gen automatons. Plex.
Plex. Yeah, so Plex remains, and then the 4 new ones as well.
And Cuthbert and
13.
Okay, it's grown a bit. It's grown a bit.
Bellerophon and apparently an adder, although mixed on the
An as yet unnamed adder.
An anti-theft adder. It doesn't really have a speaking role, does it?
unlike Cuthbert.
Yeah.
I like the idea that you could go into a shop and go, I'd like to buy an anti-theft adder, please. Would that be a pet shop, I guess?
They probably don't advertise them like that, but I guess technically.
Please someone go into a shop and say, can I please have one of your anti-theft adders? I'm sorry, what, sir?
I wonder if you could get an anti-theft anything. I mean, maybe a dog, but even then you couldn't describe it in that way, I don't think.
Yeah.
I think a guard dog is an anti-theft dog.
I'm trying to think, is there any other pet you could get from a pet store, though, that would fit the
Cool.
bill?
Some housekeeping. Don't forget to check out our companion podcasts, The Tale of Kalevala, Extra Roll, and Around the Campfire, our Discord server, the Dice Cord, the greatest community in all of TTRPGs, our official website, dicecompanypodcast.com for merchandise, and follow us on Bluesky, TikTok, and YouTube. Links for all of that can be found in the show notes. And please remember, the most robust agreements are those that different actors support for different reasons. So let's turn the page on the next chapter of Dice Company.
I think a llama, they're meant to protect sheep.
Shut
I think
up!
they technically, I mean, yeah, a sheepdog would also have worked.
The llama
but
and the sheep.
I guess a llama is.
llama and
Nigel! Previously on Small Embers. The Order of the Heron are in the city of Shale. With Petron investigating a Furbolg sighting, the others instigated and were successful in a heist of the Dark Bank. Gaining a load of gold, and most importantly, the Highmore ring and a Lokian benediction. They escaped as the vault exploded with arcane wards around them. They were able to navigate the sewers and return to the Sterling to count their loot. The following day, as arranged, Petron returned from his jaunt to the south.
Seeksorrow hauls himself out, dripping like a wet dog, and kind of out of breath, and goes, "Oh, hi, Petron. Thanks for the rope. Yeah, glad you're back. What have you been up to?"
Oh, well, you'll never believe it, Seeksorrow. I think I've seen another Furbolg.
What, did you think you were the only one?
Well, I wasn't sure. I was starting to worry that I might have been. I'd always hoped there were others about, and it always seemed likely that there must be. I mean, why would my community be the only one in all the world? But I never knew, you see, and then I saw one, so that's why I had to go. I thought you'd understand.
Most intriguing. Furbolgs are not known in these parts.
Is Tok around? I've got a map I'd like to show him.
You hear Tok climbing the stairs on the Sterling. Alarm! I have detected a person falling overboard. Do they need assistance?
No, I'm all right, Tok. I just overshot the deck in a very deliberate act of sailing power.
That is good to know, Seeksorrow.
I might be more of a land-based fighter than a ship guy, but that's all right. I'll keep practicing. And Seeksorrow scuttles off up the mast.
I'm land-based. Now, to the sky!
And there's drips coming down from Seeksorrow's sodden clothes just all around where you guys are trying to have a conversation.
Petron, you have returned.
Yes, that's right, Tok. Yeah, I have. Look at this. And Petron hurries over to Tok, pulling the map out of his satchel as he does so, and says, I came across this map, Tok. I thought you might be able to work out where it is. You see, there's no names on it, you see, so I couldn't work out exactly where it is, but I wondered if you had any ideas.
Tok will inspect the map. Does he recognise it, Tom?
I would imagine you have a meticulous note-taking of maps and things that while you've been aboard the Sterling.
Don't want to brag, but...
Give me a nature check.
Nature check, awesome. Just a 29,
No biggie.
no biggie. Natural 20,
Tok, you immediately recognise this particular layout. You recognise this as a portion of coastline in the northeast of Athlon.
It appears to be an archipelago off the coast of the Northern Sea, near the human settlement of Misery.
And I think with this news, you can see Petron almost kind of slump, his shoulders drop, and he says, "Oh, that's so far away."
And yet it is convenient, Petron. It is near a place I wish to travel to.
All right, where's that?
Lanasil,
Well, what's in Lanasil?
the forest containing Jurima trees and the elves.
Oh, right you are. And what are you looking for more Jurima wood for? Haven't we got enough growing as it is?
That is correct, Petron. I do not wish to take Jurima wood. I wish to preserve the Jurima wood and the elves.
Well, that sounds like a noble cause. What are we waiting for? Let's head over to Lanasil and to Misery. Well, but yeah, what do you think?
I would find that to be acceptable. However, there is need to prepare. We will need a sizable force to combat the Sons of Kale.
What are they in? Are they in Lanasil?
That is correct. They are heading in that direction. Their current whereabouts are unknown.
You make it sound like a battle or a war.
That is correct, Petron.
Well, that's a serious business, isn't it? I might withdraw my suggestion that we head straight over to the northeast. But don't know, I'm ready for a war. I don't know that we're ready for a trip to Lanasil or a trip to Misery. That's a very unappealing name. Who called it Misery?
Correct. There is much to prepare.
Wise words, Petron. We have much to do, and everything at the right time.
And Petron mumbles, maybe almost to himself, how did my map end up here? I thought I saw a furbolg. Cuthbert, if I saw a furbolg here, why is the map of the far reaches of the continent? Oh, I don't know. I have to ponder on this one. Cuthbert, it's a puzzle. It's a puzzle. Squeak.
Forgive my intrusion, Petron, but if you saw a furbolg, given the rarity of such a sighting, one must surely draw the conclusion that a connection exists between you and this distant land, one that in time you should frequent.
The problem is, Vander, I'm starting to doubt myself now. Do I really see a furbolg? I don't know.
I wouldn't be concerned about doubt, Petron. I'm rarely sure of the actions I take. Sureness is not necessary in order to be decisive.
How reassuring.
I mean, he's right.
Like a cat, we must learn to fall on our feet, whatever the weather. Now, it seems to me we have a number of tasks to consider. Oh, and by the way, Petron, as a result of our little expedition, you are now the wealthiest furbolg I know. You are the owner of many thousands of gold coins.
Precisely 63,851 gold coins, Petron.
63,000?
851.
Almost exactly correct, subject to the small tithe required to maintain the sterling.
Well, the 63,000 gold coins get you then. I've never really had use of money. Would that buy me, I don't know, horse?
A horse?
Says Vander, looking a bit dumbfounded.
Well, just for example, I don't know. I'm trying to get a sense of what that means. 63,000. I don't know.
I believe it would be sufficient for the research and development of a golem horse, Petron.
Or a horse made of jade, or a small castle, or the truth from your enemies, or many other desirable riches that you could not imagine. It is a vast sum, Petron, one for which you are surely most unfathomably grateful,
says Vander, looking slightly alarmed at Petron's lack of understanding about wealth.
I think Petron just looks a bit dumbfounded, and he says, "Well, what am I going to do with loads of money?"
Invest in your friends if you have no ideas of your own.
Invest?
Vander refers to the creation of magical artifacts that may be of use, items of power.
Does Vander?
He says, turning his eye on Tok.
Oh, well, right you are. I can see how that'd be useful.
Let us not be hasty on the subject of investments. I suggest a private conversation when the time arises between you and myself, a practiced and experienced investor.
Well, what does investing do? I think I've heard people talk about investing before. Isn't that just trying to get more money?
You missed the point, Petron, but that is understandable. Perhaps we will stick a conversational pin in it for now before the verbal pathogen that is Tox interjections destroys the purpose of my meaning.
Seeksorrow just goes, "Just buy whatever you want, Petron." And he leaps off the mast again, holding the rope a second time with an attempt to land.
Asking for trouble.
Acrobatics check, please, Seeksorrow. You can continue the conversation, but this is happening.
This time. Oh, God. That's an 8.
And slightly more gracefully than last time, Seeksorrow flies around on the rope, his hand slips, and he flies off the side of the Sterling for the second time.
Oh. You hear Seeksorrow splashing and he just goes, rope again, lads.
Someone get Seeksorrow a rope.
Toggle throw a rope.
In a sad, pathetic way, one could draw a form of inspiration from such mindless repetition.
Nope.
And a soaking hand slaps down on the deck as Seeksorrow climbs up the side again.
Seeksorrow, I have a gift for you. It feels appropriate to the moment.
Oh, thanks, Tok. Is it a towel?
No, it isn't. Tok reaches into his pouch and passes you a coin.
Oh, that's very kind, Tok. I've actually got more gold than I even know how to count at the moment, but I said gladly add this to the collection.
It is a magical artifact, Seeksorrow. It is designed to prevent your death in the case of falling from the Sterling whilst it is in the sky.
Okay, so how does it work? What if I, fell and I was going to hit the deck? It would stop me somehow.
That is correct.
Very good, thanks, Tok. That was very kind. I wish I had a present to give you.
However, it only has one use.
Okay. So will it accidentally switch on when I practice my rope swinging?
Please attempt not to fall more than 20 feet.
No problem.
With 3 days until the 17th of Midwinter, you guys take a long rest. Please replenish all of your missing hit points, all of your spell slots. Rest, relax, feel better about yourselves.
Thank you, Plex, says Vander, receiving a bowl of soup. There's more if anyone desires it.
Yes, please, Vander.
Plex?
Yeah, I'd wonder.
Now, to the subject of what to do next. I have a couple of small suggestions.
Won't your dad be after us, Vander? Won't he know about our little wander into your family vault?
He will by now, that is true. More worryingly, the Dark Bank will no doubt wish to speak with us.
Have they ascertained our identities, Vander?
Most likely, Tok, and they are not an adversary we wish to have. I suggest we move with stealth from this point forward. The Dark Bank is less than forgiving.
Well, why don't we just give them their money back?
Technically, Patron, it is my money in any case.
Oh, what? How does that work?
Well, I am the heir to the fortune I have myself stolen. In a way, all I have done is accelerated the process.
Vander, was it not possible merely to ask for the money and items?
You were present at the time I did ask, so to speak. Unfortunately, I was forced to liberate rather than to ask permission. But you are all welcome to share in the bounty I have provided you.
It is generous of you, Vander.
Of course.
Vander leans back in his chair and slurps.
Yeah, I don't think we should pick up Vander on this. He's probably done 10 worse things than that bank robbery this morning, haven't you, Vander?
Oh, Seeksorrow, you flatter me.
If we're not, and I accept we're not right now, going to head off to find this community of furballs, well, what are we doing?
An interesting question, Patron. By all rights, we should take to the skies now and avoid the coming danger. But I am now aware of an air fleet. Such an asset could be pivotal in the challenges to come. We may not be able to take the fleet entire, but I suggest we probe the matter, if you understand my meaning.
I would find that to be acceptable, Vander.
We must learn more of this fleet, and what controls it, this Nori Gosler.
Just then, this sweet smell kind of comes through the room. It's the smell of baked bread, which accompanies Little Tick as he enters the mess hall. He takes a bowl and sits with you all at the table.
All right there, little tick. What are you doing with the bowl? Do you eat now?
I am eating Seeksorrow. I am part of the team, and the team eat.
You sure are, little man. And Seeksorrow reaches out to pat little tick on the head and then decides not to do it and withdraws his hand.
There's a delicious smell, Little Tick. Freshly baked bread. It arrived when you came into the room, but you haven't got any bread. What? Is that something to do with you?
Father, they have noticed my pheromones. They are responding kindly to them.
That is correct, Little Tick. I believe the pheromones are too strong, and they have noticed consciously. Readjust to 20%.
Yes, Father.
And immediately the smell decreases by 80%.
So Seeksorrow looks at that for a minute and shakes his head and then goes, so we're going to see this air lady to see about the fleet. Is that right?
And acquire information.
I suggest we attend the meeting, but arrive there having left no trace of our passing. We don't wish to arouse the suspicions of the Whisperers or the many who would wish me or us dead as a result of our previous actions.
I don't think anyone wishes me dead as the result of my previous actions.
You're quite wrong, Petron.
Well, what have I done?
Very little, but you were with me at the point that I met my father. More than enough provocation to have you inhumed, I'm afraid.
Everything I've seen, Petron, would suggest that even sharing a drink with Vander would be enough for a death sentence from half the people in this city.
But think of the friendship you have acquired, Petron. You are richer now than you were when we first met. Is this not a sign of the profitability of your new friends? You're speechless, I understand entirely.
Petron looks a bit thoughtful and decides not to follow up the point.
I will remain within the cloak for the meeting to limit arousal. He said arouse the Whisperers.
I get it.
A sage idea, Talk. One I wish to probe no further.
Thank the heavens.
Wasn't there anyone else you wanted to see while you were in town, Vander? Any more family or old friends or anything like that? We've been on the shit these past 3 days.
Caution, Petron. Vander murdered the friend in the sewers of Shale. I believe he does not wish to talk of it.
Well, that's interesting you say that, Tok. Actually, Vander, we could go and have a little check. You said you wanted to know, or part of you wanted to know, whether this friend is still alive. Should we not find out? I think we might struggle to come back to Shale much again in the future. This might be a last chance.
Vander is rigid after Tok's comment, but seems to,
Aroused.
through an act of will, loosen his twisted frame enough to respond.
Some questions may be best left unanswered, Seeksorrow.
Well, fair enough, Vander. What about other old friends? Any old pals you want to look up before we sail away, presumably with half the people of Shale chasing us, screaming and throwing stuff at us as we scuttle away?
Vander thinks deeply at that.
Yes and no,
He says under his breath.
I prefer to keep my own counsel on such matters, but your inquiry is most generous,
Says Vander, looking up, smiling as if nothing is wrong.
I've got one final question for you, Vander.
Of course you do.
Well, it's just based on conversations we've had. I'm just curious, in the same situation, if Seeksorrow was considering pursuing a course of action, wasn't sure about it, would you say, I think some things are meant to be left undiscovered? Or would you tell him to go and find out?
I would say, Petron, that some of us were born the spider, others the fly.
You know perfectly well what my point was, Vander.
I do, Petron, and I thought I would respond in a medium that would sate your thirst.
I believe Vander replied in a metaphor, Petron. He was likening himself to a spider.
And the sledgehammer falls on the conversation again. Time and the hour,
Vander says, glancing at a watch that isn't in his hand.
I must off to my cabin to prepare myself. Plex, I have some orders.
And he begins shuffling for the door.
Wander.
As Vander's out of the room, I think Petron is going to say, "What do you think? I think he wants to know. Do you think we should try and find out what happened to those folks?"
It's a good question, Petron. I'd be a bit scared of going behind Vander's back on that sort of thing. Might end up on the wrong end of his flintlock. But maybe if we could find out just quietly somehow. I don't know, maybe send one of our little animals scuttling off to look in the records or something. But how would we? We don't know this person's name, or hard to investigate that little thread without Vander telling us what to look for.
The name was Tommen, I believe.
Well, that's a start.
Query: how would the information be of assistance to our endeavours?
They might give Vander a bit of peace. I wonder if they keep records of deaths, some sort of archive. Seeksorrow, you were a grave digger. Did that sort of thing get recorded in Frost Hollow?
I'd say so. People love big books and lists of dead people. I don't know why we really bother.
Where would they keep that sort of thing?
Well, some sort of office. There was a register office in Frost Hollow with all sorts of scribbly little fellas with waistcoats and feather quills.
I have seen human documents referred to as tithe documents.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
I have limited effort in forging such documents.
Maybe if we just keep an eye out for a likely building that might house that sort of thing. Maybe an opportunity will come up and we could do Vander a favour and find out whether this Tommen chap really is dead.
Well, I'd like to do that for him, and I've been through a few death records. Sometimes, you know, there's a question mark. Did you put the right body in the right hole? That sort of thing. So I could probably find my way around that sort of place. See if there's Tommen's on the list. I guess we know roughly when he should be down there. I guess it depends how many people die in this place, how many people there are. Doesn't seem that big a city.
Well, exactly. Maybe we should keep an eye out for opportunities, at least.
One thing I know for sure is that Lord Fancy Pants type people get more records than the common folk. And if he was a friend of young Vander or young Cyril, then he probably was a fancy person, and therefore his name might be in those kind of books. I reckon we could find it given a bit of time. Let's look out for that building, see if we can slip in, maybe on the way back or the way to our little meeting.
Right, you are.
As the group gather on the deck to head off and meet Norrie Gosler, you see that Seeksorrow has dressed up as a sailor. He wants to impress this fancy sea lord, sea lady person, and so he just looks like a cartoon sailor with a sort of little blue hat and a stripy shirt. He thinks this is what sailors look like. This is what sailors look like in the stories that his mum used to read him. And so to impress the nautical folk, he is fully kitted out as a sailor. What do you think, Admiral Vander?
I think you are most well versed in fairy tales, Seeksorrow. But you are a strong resemblance to what I think people told children sailors were like, which is impressive in itself.
Well, I'll try to take that as a compliment, Vander.
It wasn't.
Seeksorrow looks slightly crestfallen, but he gets out a whistle and blows that whistle that goes...
And behind you, Plex and Otis stand to attention on the poop deck.
If I could ask you to refrain from the giving of orders?
Was that orders?
Belay that, Plex.
Wander.
Under his breath, Seeksorrow goes, "Run out the guns."
Vander smiles.
All in good time, Seeksorrow. We'll make a passable sailor of you yet. Plex, I trust our preparations, should we receive guests, are all in place.
Wander, there is a guest approaching.
Direction.
Up the ramp.
Ah!
And he points.
Vander turns to the ramp, which is only feet away.
And you see an incredibly smartly dressed young man. Very neat hair. He's wearing something of a kind of black cape, but not a dramatic cape. Very smart. And he's carrying with him a satchel, which is very firm, briefcase-like satchel. And he marches smartly up the ramp. Ah, Mr. Finnick.
Vander adjusts his hat and shambles over, but trying to look imperious and struggling.
Welcome aboard my ship.
Thank you very much. It's very nice. My name is Charles. I'm a representative of the Dark Bank.
Ah, well, a pleasure to receive you. What, pray, brings you to our humble vessel this day?
Vander says, his eyes shifting for a second, but then fixing on the man, as if shifting is something that Vander does not want to be seen doing right now.
He reaches into his briefcase satchel. I am just here to make sure that we are all agreed on the amount of money currently in your Dark Bank account. It is 1 gold coin under a Mr. Vander Finnick. Is that correct?
Quite correct, thank you, and I appreciate the diligence of this update.
Please sign here.
Vander reads the parchment.
Just says 1 gold coin and has your name and your date of birth.
Interest rates are dreadful, aren't they?
Quite accurate to medieval economies.
I'm going to do an Arcana check on the parchment.
Okay. Trying to see if it's somehow trapped.
Absolutely.
That gives me an
100%.
idea.
This is the Dark Bank.
Of course it does.
11. Damn it.
There is no, you get no sense of any magical trickery on this. It looks like just a piece of parchment.
Drawing a comically ostentatious quill from nowhere, Vander jots his name down.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Mr. Finnick. And just so that we're all on the same page, as it were, the Highmore account is also 1 gold coin. Is that correct?
Seeksorrow looks extremely shifty at that, having thrown that 1 gold coin into the vault. He shifts from foot to foot with his hands, well, in one pocket. Obviously, he doesn't put his hand in his right pocket because of the adder.
Vander's eye stays on him for a very long time indeed.
As ever, the Dark Bank misses little. I accept your statement, come peace offering, and agree that my father was most gregarious in his spending. I confirm that the account reads 1 gold coin.
Excellent. Obviously, speaking in hypothetical terms, it would be incredibly embarrassing if it ever got out that the Dark Bank had lost money for one of its clients, especially such a high-ranking client as the Highmore estate. Therefore, by signing this document, and he hands you another parchment, Mr. Highmore, you are agreeing that you have taken a deposit of all funds except 1 gold coin, and then everything is above board.
Vander signs this piece of paper as well.
Please convey my thanks to the Dark Bank for choosing to back a new rider, so to speak.
The Dark Bank prefers to back all riders where possible.
Of course.
It has been a pleasure doing business with you as always, Mr. Highmore, Mr. Finnick. You shall not be hearing from us again unless you request it. Good day.
One more thing before you go.
Of course.
I trust the Dark Bank's policies are still in place, that no member of the bank may be inhumed while they remain a member.
Of course. It is our oldest law.
And in some hypothetical calculations, I am a member twice over.
Depending on who we speak to, each person can only be a member once. Mr. Finnick.
I understand the safety is the same, which is my primary concern. Good day and good luck. Thank you for the information.
Good day, all.
As the guy is just walking off, he goes, "Could I have an account with the Dark Bank?"
No, Mr. Seeksorrow, your previous employment history is a problem. Good day.
And Seeksorrow's face is kind of frozen. He had a cheeky grin. He was enjoying his morning. But that expression has frozen like a fried egg left to cool. He just kind of stands there watching the guy retreat away from the ship.
You make your way up the familiar coastal path into Shale. It's getting close to lunchtime, the streets are busy, and the vibe is upbeat and positive.
Way!
Heading towards the imposing clifftop castle of Mourner's Keep, you walk through the opened portcullis, which welcomes you into a courtyard filled with well-dressed noble folk, a mixture of elderly and parents with young children, who all seem to be admiring the garden displays within. At the back of the courtyard is the imposing four-towered bastion itself. The double doors are open and welcoming. Inside has been converted into a sort of communal dining hall. In fact, any history of actual military use of Mourner's Keep appears to have been forgotten, and it now acts as a peaceful destination for the population of Shale.
So are you telling us this is like the Elestia version of a National Trust property?
That's exactly what I'm saying. It's like a national trust.
Vander fumbles for his card.
It used to be the armory room and now it sells scones.
Lifetime membership.
It's also definitely under a fake name as well.
And as you approach the main fortress, a very plain gentleman falls into lockstep with you and holds out a piece of parchment to Seeksorrow.
Oh, thank you. And Seeksorrow thinks he's being asked for money or something, and he's acutely aware that he's now got more than 60,000 gold. He kind of gives a glance at the guy and has a look at the parchment.
And the man disappears back into the throng of people. The piece of parchment simply says, North Tower.
Lad, someone just handed me this bit of paper. Look, it just says North Tower. I've got a feeling we should probably go to the North Tower.
That would be in this direction,
Vander says, turning to shuffle in a new direction.
Seeksorrow pockets the note and heads that way.
As the rest of you follow his directions, Vander, you catch a glimpse of flowing blonde hair. A closer look reveals a beautiful woman in her late 30s. She's dressed in a plain but obviously high-quality white dress, and she's kneeling by a flower bed next to the door you're heading for. Her attention is on the flowers as she carefully selects individual peonies to create a small bouquet. Vander, you recognize her at once. This is Morticia Wesson.
Vander sees Morticia Wesson.
Yes, she's oblivious to you.
Mid-step, Vander stutters to a halt, and his head slowly turns in the direction of Morticia. Vander gestures at the rest of the group.
Down, boys, down!
You're right, Vander. Seeksorrow can't really see a way for him and Petron to, hit the deck in the middle of a National Trust courtyard.
Vander flaps the cloak open.
Get in the cloak!
Oh, I don't think I'm getting in that cloak, thank you. I don't know. No.
Vander, now looking more panicked, has given up on them and is now beginning to crawl for the door.
Seeksorrow kind of awkwardly follows along while Vander's crawling along the ground, like someone who wants to give first aid but doesn't know how to because his patient is moving of their own accord.
Act naturally and do not look to your right, boys.
A small periscope comes up out of looks to the right.
Yeah, Petron looks to you.
You all see a beautiful woman picking flowers.
She's quite nice, Vander. You could, just go introduce yourself. I know you're not exactly a looker, but, maybe she likes, brains.
Silence, Seeksorrow!
And Vander is hopefully close. How close am I to this door?
You're crawling, right? So
Yeah, I'm crawling.
Those flowers aren't poisonous, Vander. There's nothing to worry about. I don't think they could be used as a weapon or anything. I'm not really sure what you're concerned about.
Fools!
Give me a group stealth check.
Oh, God.
I think you're
not Tom,
paranoid.
not
man.
Tom.
In a cloak.
Yeah, not Tom.
Speaking of which, you hear a very, very faint list of the species of flowers that Doc can see.
These are amazing stealth checks.
Oh,
Heavy armor. No wonder.
Do I have heavy armor? Why do I always have fucking heavy armor? Why does everyone else doesn't?
Frontline fighter, yeah. In fact, we could get you better heavy armor. We really should.
But could we get quieter heavy armor? Right, that's a 6 for the marching band of Seeksorrow.
That's 4 for Petron.
And Charlie's thrown a strength save.
Although pretty good strength save.
Yeah. Is this like
really?
Is this because Vander's going, give me strength?
Okay. I was thinking about trying to drag you guys to the ground. So, 14 for stealth.
Vander, you managed to crawl into the...
Yes!
Vander, you crawl in without being noticed. However, the young lady does stop picking flowers and looks across and only sees Petron and Seeksorrow staring directly at her.
And Seeksorrow gives a really stupid schoolboy smile
Does Petron still look like a furbolg?
Yeah, Petron hasn't
bastards.
taken any efforts to change his appearance.
And very slowly, Seeksorrow also adds a thumbs up.
She takes a couple more flowers and then slowly approaches you with a smile on her face.
Oh, my friend, I think, was worried that those flowers were poisonous. Just in case you had any concerns, they're fine. They're absolutely fine. Very beautiful.
Petron gets a mental message.
Do not mention my name.
He gets another mental message saying, I confirm the flowers are not toxic.
And Seeksorrow, seeing that something needs to be covered up here, goes, I still think you probably shouldn't eat those.
Hello there. Very nice to meet you. My name is Morticia Wesson, and who am I speaking to? I mean, obviously I'm speaking to a sailor, and she smiles kindly at Seeksorrow.
Oh, God.
And
Aye, my lady.
and your sailor's friend.
On my port side, let me introduce... and Petron's on his right, by the way. On my port side, let me introduce... Petron, I guess. Hello, this is Petron.
Hello.
Well met, Petron. The furbolg. That is a rather unique and exotic creature. It's very, very nice to meet you.
Oh, you've come across furbolgs, have you? You've not met one before, have you? I don't suppose.
I have, as it goes.
Really?
Yeah, just a few weeks ago.
Where?
They were just milling around here in the courtyard.
Really? Extraordinary. Did you get the sense they were local?
And she looks you up and down. No.
No, I mean that they live around here somewhere.
Oh, no, they look like visitors.
Oh,
She looked like a visitor.
she. Oh, goodness me. Well, that's very interesting. Thank you very much. I've never met. Well, it's been a long time since I came across another furbolg, you see. And then the other day, I thought I saw one. I wasn't sure. And well, it seems like there's more and more sightings of them. I'm very optimistic now that I might finally meet another after many years. That's wonderful news.
Oh, that is wonderful news. It's always nice to hear people reunited. Here, perhaps you could give her this if you find her. And she hands you a flower.
Well, that's very kind of you. Thank you very much. We dare say it might take me some time, so I'll probably dry it, but it'll still be very beautiful if I dry out that flower. So, yeah, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And Seeksorrow blurts out, Oh, I'm Seeksorrow.
Oh, that's an interesting name.
Oh, yeah, thank you. It was my dad's name.
Tok will start climbing out of the cloak.
Stay in the cloak.
Vander's hand, obviously not able to resist Tok, but is now just placed against your face.
Are you still lying down?
I have clambered to my feet, but I am around the corner.
Hang on, once Tok starts to come out of the cloak, won't Vander be dragged back to the ground with a thunk?
Tok can start climbing out towards where the ground is. You see a couple of hands and their head exposed out.
Does it look a little bit like Vander's just somehow passed a robot head?
A little bit. And Tok says in a relatively quiet voice, that is good news, Vander. They may form a breeding pair.
You sound like a foghorn. For once in your life, Tok. Take an instruction as it is meant and stay in the cloak.
Vander's four-fingered hand is pressing against your face still.
Tok will go back into the cloak, and then above Vander's shoulder, the little periscope will pop out and look around to see Petron.
5 hells.
So Seeksorrow does a coughing fit, because he can see there's something that Vander's trying to cover up here, but he doesn't really know what it is. But he can hear all kinds of noise happening basically right behind him. So Seeksorrow's like...
I must improve my appearance. Tok,
I may be of assistant.
do you have the human paint?
I mean, yes.
A hand reaches into the cloak, grasping at thin air.
Tok will pass Vander the human skin-coloured paint.
Is Vander going to disguise himself as a human?
Vander's going to spread the paint over the side of his face that isn't masked. And I'm going to... DM, can I get a check to see if that's improved things?
Well, Tok based the colour of it based on Vander's skin tone, so It's an exact match.
Okay. Vander is going to cast Prestidigitation on his own face, okay? And I'm going for that kind of makeup, like the, the Victorian, the kind of slightly whited, with the rosy
The powdered
cheeks.
white.
Yeah, I'm going to try and just, cover over the cracks.
Vander, this potion should help disguise you. And Tok will put a potion out of the...
And Seeksorrow has heard that Vander wants to look better, so he very slowly takes off his sailor's hat and passes it back behind his back.
Give me a sleight of hand check, please.
That's 16.
Nice. Very subtle. Morticia is engaged in conversation with Petron at the moment.
Vander takes the hat and throws it down the hallway, takes the potion and pockets it, and then casts Prestidigitation on his own face.
Fuck your help, Order of the Heron.
You guys do not understand the gravity of the situation.
Okay, so yeah, Vander, you cast Prestidigitation on your own face, giving the impression of a 1700s dandy with powdered white with rosy red cheeks.
But has it improved me? That's the question.
I mean, yes, I guess. I mean, we're back to polishing turds again, aren't we?
That is an outrage.
Not that I'm saying your face is a turd, obviously.
I mean, meanwhile, Petron's just having a very nice conversation with Morticia because Petron's someone who is kind of genuinely interested in people and has lots of questions. No, that wasn't aimed at anyone. He's aimed at people. He's like a curious person. He's good at small talk. He makes people feel like they're being listened to, and so he's just having a lovely chat, and everyone's having a nice time.
He's got no place on this podcast.
Meanwhile, Vander produces a small mirror from one of his many pockets to look at his visage, takes one look and thinks there's room for improvement. Searching for oils, he realizes that he has at least the potion that Tok gave him and tries to use that as a kind of oil to slick back what is left of his hair.
That'll work.
Cool. Okay, so you slick the potion back on your hair and your hair immediately expands in size.
Oh, what?
It enlarges up to 3 or 4 times its normal size?
No!
And at this point, Seeksorrow glances back and just goes, 7 heads, Vander, you look weird!
Vander throws his cloak over his head with the aim of just now just being a cloaked figure. That's what I've gone for.
If his head's now in the cloak,
Yes,
and Tok's going to say hello.
It's the hair puffing up the cloak. You look like the honey monster wearing a cloak.
This is so...
Vander, if you wish to remain for more than 10 minutes, I have a potential solution.
We have no time for solutions. Now or never, Tok.
Morticia turns the corner.
Oh my god.
Tok's going to pull Vander into the cloak.
Yeah, so the cloak just collapses to the ground.
The cloak collapses to the ground.
She looks around half a second after the cloak just hits the floor. She went, "Oh, someone's left their cloak here." And she walks over to pick it up.
That's all right. Yeah, we're magicians.
Oh, really?
Last week he was a puppeteer.
Yeah, we do puppetless puppet theatre.
Oh, so a puppeteer rather than a magician then?
You're 5 silver.
Oh, okay. And she pulls out 5 silver and hands it to you.
Oh no. Sorry, it was just for you. It would be free because you gave a flower to my friend.
No. You honestly, I don't mind paying. I'm more than comfortable. Here, please. I'd love to see it. And she kind of gets down on her knees, taking an audience-like approach, and waits for the show.
Oh, fucking hell.
You see a small periscope just pop out of the cloak, look around, and then retreat back down.
Meanwhile, inside the cloak, a small match suddenly sparks into life, and Tok finds that Vander's face is inches from his. Matted hair everywhere. Vander simply says in a dangerous whisper,
Why did you feed me a potion that has given me gigantism?
Enlarged hair was not the intended purpose, Vander. How did you consume the potion?
Irrelevant, Tok. Reverse the effects immediately.
and Vander's eye almost touches Tok's eye.
It may not be reversed for up to 1 minute, Vander.
Vander feels the top of his head.
It's a wig. Tok! The shears!
Tok will produce Benny's shears, hesitate, and say, "But, Vander, they are Benny's shears. They are for Benny's hair."
He won't mind. Give me a modern and stylish haircut, one that covers part of the left side of my face. You have 10 seconds.
Peanut gallery, but yeah, he's definitely going to mind.
And Benny returns from across
Somewhere
the
you can feel Benny minding.
A shaggy-haired beast looms up.
Okay, while this absolute pantomime is going on, Seeksorrow realizes he's basically in a corner and now needs to produce a decent magic trick for the
In fairness,
pretty lady.
you've got the periscope has just come out.
Well, he wants to do better than that.
She's clapping. Marvellous, marvellous.
So he holds up the cloak out wide like a bullfighter. All right, lads, let's show the trick. Out you come.
We need to establish the haircut that you've given him.
Yes, we do. Roll for haircut.
Okay, right. What haircut does Seeksorrow have?
It's sort of like it's just like hair. It's quite standard hair.
Just bog standard hair, short back and sides.
Tok manages a 30 on his haircut roll.
Oh my god.
Oh my.
Okay, I suppose 10 seconds later, Tok will, like, on one hand, like a waiter, lift Vander up out of the cloak.
And the rest of you see him emerge with an identical haircut to Seeksorrow. Sat atop a head which is really, really dusty white with red cheeks.
The colour of the hair matches perfectly as well.
And Petron goes, ta-da!
Oh, it's marvellous. It's marvellous. And look. Oh dear, look at this poor, wretched creature. Oh. And she steps forward to approach Vander. And we'll end it there.
You've been listening to Dice Company's Small Embers, starring Dave Windust as Petron Oakflower, Alex Morrison as Seeksorrow, Charlie Blackadder as Vander Finnick, and Harry King as Tok, with Tom Patrick as your Dungeon Master.
The humans of Dice Company would like to thank the following sweethearts for their support: Zeus Legion, Zero Nova, Sepulchre Stennet, Marky B, Jenny the War Camel, Stephen Sikora, Nori Gosler, Mickey Arnold, Happy Daddy Scotty, Tika, SJ Phionics, Richard Ungamus, Rabbi Camel, Team Stay Toxic, Path Pursuit, Paris Pakar, Liz Beckett, Julia Zeno, Shovels, Queenie, and a special extra thanks to our very own Council of Rojan, Mama Strange, Axel Runholm, and Chris from North London.
Well, I think
I'm
they
not
see
going
themselves
to
as a...
Sheer
I think
rage.
you might have made that up.
No, it's a thing. You put llamas with sheep to protect against foxes and things, and the fox
Yeah.
obviously just gets terrorized by a sheep with a really long neck, and the llamas are like, well, these are my buddies, and you're not one of us. I mean, I'm
My
guessing
weird
at the
stunted
psychology,
buddies.
but you know that's what happens.
Yeah. You can also get guard geese.
That's true. I remember this.
What?
You don't want to mess with guard geese. They are terrifying.
Yeah. As in-
What do
Or,
the geese
I
do?
don't want to overegg this, but they are just geese. You could just kill them. Like,
Oh,
these
God.
aren't bears.
What do you mean monster? How
No.
could you just kill large waterfowl?
Okay, well, yeah. And wait. Also, if Dom
their
gets
long, slender
killed by
necks.
guard geese now, I'm going to not shed a tear for that. It's going to be... Also, guard bears?
Yeah,
they're
guard bears
not
would
bears.
be terrifying, wouldn't they?
I mean,
I don't think
Quite
you
hard.
could use
Overkill.
the business for anything you wanted to use it for if you had guard bears.
I had a really successful business, but had to abandon it when I released bears onto the property and
No
lost
one could have
control.
foreseen.
There was a bear in the Polish army in the Second World War. It had an actual rank and a name and everything.
What? See, easy to control.
It was in an artillery regiment. It carried shells around and all kinds of stuff. It was highly trained and much loved. There's a whole.
You sure
thing
this
about
isn't
it.
just a particularly hairy man?
I think
Or maybe a dream you had.
you guys suck.
Are you a particular hairy man who had a dream, Al?
I mean, that is the name of my autobiography. I love it.
Hairy dreams.
A hairy man who had a dream. It's a sort of. I suppose you could consider me a crap hirsute Martin Luther King.
That's canon. It's happened in the fun facts.
The bear
now.
thing is real, so shut
I mean,
up.
we're not in the fun facts set. What on earth makes
I
you
don't know
think
what
this is
section
going
we're in.
in? We're in the limbo space. This is
Podcast
The
gold.
void. All our best stuff happens in the void.
This is for our companion podcast, Dice Company Scream Into the Void. Just all the random shit that couldn't even fit into the outtakes.
screams from the void. It's our only popular podcast.
Even more discordant than both the show and the outtakes from the show.
Want to hear some increasingly hysterical dudes go on about bears being in the army? This stuff sells itself.
Gentlemen, I require some time to plan. Perhaps we can meet in the...
Oh, I'll tell you what, fuck it, just end it. You don't need me to do anything, do you? I don't know why I was thinking it needed some kind of ending point. You could just end it.
Bail,
Yeah.
abandon conversation.
I can't seem to get Captain's Cabin. Captain's Cabin. That's what it's called.
The poop cabin.
Cabin.
An interesting question, Seeksorrow.
Nope, Petron.
Oh, an interesting question, Patron.
Interesting patron.
An interesting...
Fuck you guys.
Lore.
Thanks for listening. Please consider supporting Dice Company on Patreon, where for the price of a cup of coffee you get access to a whole other show, Extra Roll, as well as an ad-free listening experience. The Dice Company Discord server, along with our socials, can be found on our link tree in the show notes. If you enjoyed this chapter, please like and subscribe, and don't forget to recommend us to your friends. If you didn't like it, recommend us to your enemies. And we'll see you next time on Dice Company.